Strategic Hotbox with Dr. Brandi Love Stankovic. Discussing leadership, business, and how to take control of your life and achieve greatness. From the streets of Las Vegas, energized, informed, and never diluted. It's time to kick some ass.
Hello, welcome to the Strategic Hotbox. It's your girl, Dr. Brandi Stankovic, and hello to Symantha. I'm so glad that you're here. Yay! We have a really fun episode today, and it's based on a term that Symantha just straight made up. So she messaged me. We connected via social media. We were chatting about the Hotbox, chatting about all things leadership, chatting about what we love about the work that we do, and she gave me the term, or she dropped the term, Friendtor. And I went, what? I love that. Did I not do maybe a super amount of A's in the word what?
There was a bunch.
There was a bunch. And we just said we have to have this conversation over the Hotbox. So let's get started. So when it comes to mentorship and when it comes to mentoring, and the official title for today is Mentor the Friendtor when it here on the Hotbox. And when it comes to mentoring in general, I think about that term a lot in leadership. It comes up a lot. It's potentially the most overused word in leadership. And it is something that a lot of people that are ending their careers or towards the end of their careers are wanting to do as part of their legacy. How can I reach out to a younger generation, emerging generation, and help them in their careers? Or for people that are young and excited and wanting more information, they're wanting to reach out to people that have been around the block to say, please help mentor me in my career and be part of my growth and development. And I think that that's part of what we want to do here on the Hotbox, is to provide the tools and success and tips and just things that are tangible for people to walk away with. We learn, we love, and we kick ass, and we want everyone to have that philosophy. And it is about people taking it and doing something with it. And the same is true with mentoring. That so often I will find that people in the mentoring component will get great advice, but unless you do something with it, it really just stays as great advice. And I think that mentoring in general is something that people think that they need, but don't necessarily know exactly what that means. And people will say, I just need a mentor. Or people will say, I just want to mentor. Or people will actually have even framed me as a mentor. Like, I want you to be my mentor. You're such a mentor to me. And I think, did you just call me old? And I think to myself, like, does that mean I'm old? But no, of course not. It just means that there's some sort of relationship there of sharing or exchanging knowledge. And I think that a lot of times people don't even know or aren't even sure exactly what that means. I commonly will use the term sponsor, and I think that we've talked about it here on the Hotbox as well, which for me adds an element of people taking action on my behalf or taking action on your behalf. And that's, of course, part of what we really want here on the Hotbox with the kick-ass and that in our philosophy. But really, mentoring, sponsoring, friendtoring, which we're going to dig into here with Symantha, is this idea of what do we do and how do we take action on that? Now, Anthony Chan, an author of Good People, said, the best mentors can help us define and express our inner calling, but rarely can one person give you everything that you need. And that's really interesting. Sometimes we think that there's this one perfect person out there that's standing on a soapbox or in a throne somewhere that's going to be the ultimate person. And really, they may not be everything or reach every side of you and provide all the tools that you might need to succeed. So we might want to gain and pull from different people. And Anthony Chan defines different types of mentors. So the ones that he defines, or the 5 different types he defines, are first, the master of craft. So this is somebody that is really good at the job or the craft, the skill, the art that you want to be better at. So finding a mentor down a particular skill function that you want to improve. The second being a champion of your cause. So this is somebody that's going to act, this maybe as your sponsor, this is somebody that's going to champion you, that's going to be your person out there. Number 3 is the co-pilot. This might be your work person. This might be your work spouse. This might be your best friend. This might be somebody in your life that is your kind of partner in crime. This is your co-pilot, the one that's by your side as your mentor. Number 4 is the anchor. Now, this is a really important mentor, and this is a really important role that Chan talks about, and that's the confidant, the sounding board, and sometimes best suited outside of your industry, because then can give a really objective view on things that are happening. So when you give explanations or you give ideas of what's occurring, that they can look at it without the emotional relationship that you might have with different things that are happening in your life. And so having that confidant or that external, that anchor in your life is really important. And number 5, the reverse mentor is kind of like when you become the mentee or when you're learning from the people that you are mentoring. And that's a really valuable and important lesson as well. And because mentoring really is, or having sort of relationship like that really is a two-way street. It is a human relationship between two human people and human dynamics. And the mentee really has to be ready to give as much or if not more than the person or what they're asking from the mentor. Because I find so often when people have asked me to become mentors to them, they'll say, okay, I want you to be my mentor. Now what? Like I'm supposed to just have this perfect mentor package. Oh, well, so glad that you asked. Here, I'm going to deliver you this perfect mentor, outline of this is what it's like to be my mentee. Well, no, obviously not. But if you have some specific ask of a way that I can support you, then I would love to have further conversation about that. I've also had those situations where the opposite end of the spectrum is true, where people are like, can you be my mentor? And what I mean by that is to fill out this 45-page application of letters of reference for me for this thing. And oh, by the way, it's due next Friday, right? So I think that there's been both ends of it. And so how can you create a give and take relationship where it's a mutually beneficial one? And I think most people are open to having those and figuring out a way to balance that from a time perspective, because it really is building on organic relationships. And we all want to be able to give. Most people, most leaders want to be able to give in the relationships that they're in. So I would like to formally introduce you to Symantha Sermino. She's a new friend and colleague and fellow ass kicker who has a good take on mentorship and a unique story of how she have found her own. She's a member business services program coordinator at Northwest Community Credit Union. She's also the president and legislative advocate for the Willamette chapter of Credit Union's board of directors. She's got her bachelor's in linguistics. Yeah. See, isn't that funny that you mess up? I messed up the word linguistics. That almost is like an oxymoron, is it not? That's like in the fact that I would mess up the word around language. Anyway, so she's got her bachelor's in a very fancy word and can really lead us down a direction of language. And from the University of Oregon, and you come to us all the way from Eugene. Yes. I bet it's beautiful and green there.
It's gorgeous and probably raining today.
And probably raining. We don't get we have a lot more sunshine here, but a lot less green. Thank you. Welcome. I'm so glad that you're here.
Thank you for having me.
Yay. So tell us a little bit about your journey in leadership.
My journey in leadership began in the 4th grade.
In 4th grade?
So in Oregon, there's the Oregon Trail, of course, that
the game, or did you,
We did a simulation in the class.
Really?
And I was brand new. I think it was my 3rd day of school. And my wagon team decided that I should be wagon trail leader. And that was my first taste of leadership.
And you thought, okay, this is it. Was it anything like the game? Was it when you got the yellow fever and you had to go hunt for the buffalo?
Nobody died of dysentery.
Yeah, that was it. I remember that. Yes. Dying of dysentery.
They cut that out of the 4th grade curriculum.
I would hunt so much that my wagon train would break down because we couldn't carry the buffalo with us. I would remember I'd have to my kids would die left and right. And yeah.
And you're still out there shooting rabbits.
Don't ever tell my kids that, my actual kids that. That'd be bad. That's neat. And so then did you know in that moment, was there an active moment in that of saying, I'm meant for this?
Not really. It was kind of scary. And then over time, I just kept on volunteering to take on responsibilities. And I think when you do that repeatedly, people just kind of start to volunteer you.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And then you find yourself in leadership positions that maybe you didn't ask for. And then all of a sudden it feels really good. And then you start looking for more. And that's kind of what has happened to me.
And what I love about what you just said, and it's an important lesson for those that are watching and listening, is that the more you volunteer for things, the more you put yourself out there for things and say yes, the more that people, when they ask a question, will go, you know who will do this? It's Symantha. do you know who else help me right now? It would be that person, because they're always the one that's willing to step up and say yes. Mm-hmm. I love that. And so what made you decide then? At what point did you say getting a mentor makes sense?
Literally, I was told, you need a mentor. As I was asking people who are in positions that I want to hold, and people that I think of as having great success, what should I do? And they keep saying, get a mentor. Mm-hmm. What does that mean? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it is like a really big, somewhat overused term. Mm-hmm. And so then I had to define it. And that's when I started really looking, like, what do I want out of a mentor? Why do I need one? And that's when I started looking around me more on the existing relationships that I had, and was there anything there?
So somebody came into your office and they're like, look, you're going to need a mentor. Was it one of those like tapping on the, honey, you need a mentor?
Oh, sweetie.
Oh, no, it was something like that? Or was it somebody just like, hey, the best strategy for you would be this? Or was somebody offer to be your mentor? Or how did that even?
It's more asking, how did you get to where you are? A lot of people, their success story involves, I had this really great mentor, and it would be great if you could find one. Right. And look for that opportunity.
People do say that a lot. If I only had this mentor. And I don't know that those people are as clear for me. Maybe I just had them. They were such strong role models that they aren't as clear of that one person changed my life, or that, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But there are a lot of stories like that where people will say, if it wasn't for this person, or if it wasn't for that, that's very true. And so someone said to you, seek that.
And go on like a vision quest and get a mentor.
Yeah. I don't know. Did you hotbox somewhere out in the, drink too much tequila and,
went on a long walk.
Yeah, take some trail mix. Was it the Eagles? Say like take some opiates, right? And I wouldn't know, but something like that out in the desert. But in the process of that, you sat down and you defined. You said, okay, what do I want out of a mentor, and what would serve me in this? And have you redefined that over time?
I think it's always kind of evolving, because really what we need a mentor for is to build up for me personally, what I need a mentor for is to build up the areas where I am not as strong, and maybe where I need some more encouragement and growth. And so what I was looking for was those characteristics in other people that would help me not just have them themselves, but be able to recognize in me those areas that need growth and help water the grass.
Yeah. So you went into finding a mentor to help you build up weaknesses. Mm-hmm. That's really interesting. And that's a great frame, because there's so many different frames at which to seek, right? I know that I have looked for different mentors to help align, or people I wanted to be aligned with, right? So to help nurture strengths, or to help, to build on weaknesses, or in some cases, I literally I want that mentor because I want to be around that person, or see, absorb, hear, everything from that human being. So there's a lot of different ways that people can go about that.
Sure.
Are there any others that you've used or heard people using? On the hows and whys somebody might seek?
I think that for a lot of people, especially young professionals, when you're looking for a mentor, it's usually you're looking for somebody who can offer an opportunity that maybe you wouldn't naturally come across being a yo pro. Mm-hmm. That's air quotes for people not watching. Yeah.
So is that the hip term for young professional?
Yeah. It's kind of like fro-yo, but it's yo pro.
Yo pro. I haven't heard that before. You've heard it too? That the producers are no. Okay, so at least I'm not the only one. The producers, for anybody that we're not talking to ourselves here, the producers saying in our ears that they hadn't heard that term either. And thank goodness, because they're just lying to me, just so I don't seem like I'm the only one on the planet that hasn't heard that term. But nonetheless, yo pro. I feel so much cooler now that I know that term. I'm going to so use that, and then I'm going to go somewhere and be like, that's not a term, that's not a thing. Symantha was lying to you.
I tricked you. I missed April Fool's Day.
Yeah, really. So in the grand scheme, a lot of young people will go after that particular frame, and that completely makes sense. And we as individuals should go for that. But having some sort of definition in mind is really important, because going into it open-ended can be really difficult for the person on the other end.
Yeah. Yeah. And so it's really important to have goals and share those goals with the person that you think is or think of or has volunteered to be your mentor. Because like you said, it's kind of awkward and weird if you're just like, will you be my mentor? And then just give me whatever, you're my mentor now, hand it over.
Right. And there's sometimes that the questions or things can be so elusive, or the person receiving it cannot feel qualified to offer, and that isn't necessarily the relationship that either person wants either, because there is obviously always something to be able to share and things like that. So when did you realize that you had found a mentor that was also a friend?
I have this friend that is always pushing me all the time. Whatever my flavor of the week goal is, I get analysis paralysis where I'll just overthink it and think it and think it. And she gives me the kick in the ass that I need, like, get out there and do it already. And so what she had done was she called me and she said, we're going skydiving for your birthday. You've been talking about it for years. It's already paid for. It's scheduled. We're going. And so it was after that experience and thinking about how it affected my personality to finally jump out of a plane and why I took the leap, so to speak. It wasn't that she did it for me, but she was right there guiding me along the way and pushing me to do it. And then thanks to Facebook memories, I had realized that every time I had ever posted something about a job interview or some new opportunity, she was always the first one right there commenting, encouraging me along. And it was always in my professional life where she was pushing me the most, even though the really big thing was jumping out of a plane, right?
Right.
And so recognizing that, I let her know, like, hey, I think that you might be my mentor.
Right.
And she took that really well. And so we actually talk a lot more.
She added to her resume.
Yeah.
I absolutely love that, because I think so often as professionals, young, old, trying to figure it out, just humans, we don't have enough people that are on our sides going, you know what? You kick butt. Because typically the people that kick butt the most don't get to hear it.
It's true.
Because the bosses don't have a boss telling them they're awesome. The board of directors doesn't stop by and go, hey, you're awesome, right? And as bosses, you tell your employees, or we have, you want to do recognition for the staff that you have, and not all bosses do, but good bosses do. But those good bosses don't get that kind of recognition. You don't have people stop by your office going, hey, you're a good boss. It's a different kind of methodology. It's a different environment. And so often that it can be isolating. The further you climb in your career, the more isolating things can become. And having somebody like that, a champion, a Friendtor, is the coolest thing ever.
It really is.
I mean, for her to just, and it was probably relatively easy for her to stop and go, hey, you're amazing. And I just am rah for you on the side, or telling you to suck it up and push forward, make a decision, or whatever it is that she was energizing you to do is just so powerful and something that is just so needed for so many people. Yeah. And and you reached out right after I jumped out of an airplane.
It was around the same time.
Yeah. And yeah, I don't even have words for when I jumped out of an airplane. And you said that you would do it again, huh?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. No.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't share in that. No.
I had no idea that I was interested in adrenaline. After that, I went to climb school. I started rock climbing, something I was always afraid to do. Now I'm going for another year of it. I joined a climbing club.
Wow. So she's opened up this complete other side of you. And so how can somebody begin to, I think that the main kind of lesson, or part of the lesson in this, is that we should be, or push everyone that's listening and watching to be that for somebody else. Because if you can stop for just a moment and give a high five to somebody around you, to say, hey, you're amazing, or you can do it, or push through, that those kind of words go a long way.
They do. And so does a thank you. So if somebody does that for you, acknowledge that they took the time to do that, and tell them thank you, and then follow up with the result of what happened after that encouragement.
How did it go? Yeah. What was the most surprising learning or aha moment for you?
For mentoring, I was surprised to realize how much it's like dating. Oh,
tell me more.
Not that I'm super great at that, but
so you swipe right in mentoring too?
I'd swipe right on mentoring, yeah. It takes a lot of communication. You have to have goals in common, be on the same page. It's definitely a two-way street. And you can have a really great experience or you can have a bad experience.
Sounds like a really boring dating life. Just totally talking shit.
Well, give me some tips. Will you mentor me in my dating life, Brandi?
Says the chick who's been married for 10 years. I mean, this is totally have no basis to say that whatsoever. Yeah, right. But nonetheless, the point that you were making was valid in the fact that the being on the same page, being aligned, goals being set, working towards the same vision is so powerful, whether it's a relationship, any sort of relationship, right? An interpersonal one and a mentorship, any sort of mentoring relationship, friend-tor relationship, you want to be on the same page. If you're not working towards the same goals, then you're working kind of against each other or pulling in some way or another.
And you have to express a common interest too. Can't just stare at each other across the room forever.
Right, right. And so do you recommend sleeping with your friend-tors then?
It really depends on your industry.
Totally kidding. Don't take that advice, people that are watching and listening. Okay. Okay, so what is the best piece of advice then for people that are seeking mentors?
Make a plan. You got to have a plan, and you can be flexible in that plan. It's really hard to be flexible without a plan, though.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be super detailed. It can just exist in your mind. But if you don't have one, then you're not going to go anywhere.
Right. Right. That's great. Can you share a funny story?
Fairly recently, it was kind of cold in Oregon, and I grabbed a scarf out of the dryer and just drove to work. I ran to my car, and then I drove to work. And I got to my desk, and I was running a little bit late. So a coworker had come over and started talking to me right away. And I was taking my scarf off and just kind of shaking it out. And a pair of underwear just fell out like onto my chair. Oh, no. And so I completely froze and just started sweating. And I threw the scarf over it really fast. And I was like, I just need a minute.
Oh, no. Were they your underwear?
Yes. Yeah, they were mine.
Oh, my gosh.
Please don't ask me to describe what they look like.
No. Well, yeah, we'll let everyone just jump to that conclusion on their own. Oh my goodness. Thank you for sharing that. And I think my brain immediately went there as soon as you said pull it out of the dryer anyway, just so you know.
Because it's happened to you, right?
That
was the second time for me. The first time it was stuck to my back.
Oh my gosh. Dryer sheets. Can I recommend dryer sheets?
Need those.
So you've already told us about being flexible in the plan. Do you have another bold action item or takeaway?
Just jump, just go. Just if you're thinking about asking somebody to be your mentor, maybe it's a little weird to be like, hey, do you want to go steady? But express that is a need or a want that you're looking, and then would you be interested? But yeah, just share what's on your mind. You got to be open.
Yeah, I mean, what's the worst that can happen if you reach out to somebody? But I mean, what's the worst that could happen? They don't reply. Yeah. Right. I mean that even you reaching out to me after the skydiving call and whatever. I mean, the worst that happens is that we don't connect and that we don't get to spend this time together, right? Sure. But the best thing is that we are. Right. And the things that come from that and what builds and grows from that. So I think that's what life is capitalizing on those moments.
Absolutely.
So if people wanted to get a hold of you, how could they do that? Social media or? Social media is great. I love LinkedIn. LinkedIn is good. Twitter is also good. I am at SymSerm. That's SYMSERM. And those are my preferred social media platforms for professional use. And LinkedIn is under your full name? Yes. Okay. And do you want to just spell that really fast? Symantha, SYMANTHA Sermino, SERMINO. Excellent. Thank you so much for being here with us today. Thank you for having me. Letting me ask all these questions and screw up linguistics and all of that. I appreciate it. Let's head out to our shout out.
Hi, I'm Tara Ruther from Tempe, Arizona, and I no longer have a poor, long commute to work because of the strategic Hotbox. I have a kick-ass commute to work. Thank you to Tara for that awesome shout out. And thank you for kicking ass on your ride to work. And I can't wait until you hear this one on your ride to work and hear you going, woo!
with me in Vienna. That was amazing. Thank you very much. All right. It is my favorite time. It's your favorite time. It's time for us for our top 5 kick-ass on friendtoring. Number 1 is connect and influence. The best thing to do in regards to mentoring and building or finding a Friendtor is to connect, understand those individuals that may be out there, connect with them, and build influence or utilize the influence that you have in order to do that. Be open. Number 2, be open to new ideas. Be open to the ideas that people are bringing to the table. Be open and flexible if things need to change. Be open to what your goals will be and how those might shift into the future. Be open to what the future could hold if you have that advice or if you're working together. Number 3 is to diversify, to take the advice of Chan that we talked about earlier and having multiple mentors, having somebody that's a Friendtor, having somebody that's the anchor, somebody that's the confidant, having the people on all different sides, somebody that's that part of your craft, and being able to pull on different sponsors, different mentors, different Friendtors, and be able to build your own life in leadership and have a tribe in that way. Number 4 is to share the love yourself. So you want to be out there and have an ability to then give back. If you are receiving mentoring, receiving information, receiving the love from other people, making sure to share that love in the other direction. And then, of course, we can't finish the kick-ass without seeking a Friendtor on your own. If you can seek those people in your life or seek to be a Friendtor yourself, get out and tell the people around you how amazing they are. You'd be surprised once in a while if somebody pops in your brain. Take a moment, pause for 3 seconds, and send a text or send any sort of instant message social media app that you utilize. Send a message and say, "Hey, I'm thinking about you. You're amazing." And just I swear to you, it will brighten their day, and you don't know where they might be in that moment and how important it might be to hear from them. And so seek a Friendtor and be a Friendtor to others. There's your top 5 kick-ass. Well, thank you very much for being here with me today. It's so fun to be able to build on the Hotbox and have people like you who saw the skydive. I mean, I absolutely love the fact that the Hotbox comes full circle because we've been doing it for a couple years or over a couple years, coming up on 3 years here in a few months now. And it's so amazing to have different episodes impact people in different ways and then, or different messages and stories and things, and then be able to build on those stories. And that's kind of what happened here today. Yeah. So that was I stepped out of my own comfort zone. I jumped and then that hit and resonated with you and the fact that you also had jumped, and it brought and opened this other side of life with you with this Friendtoring. And here we are sharing that story with those in the Hotbox community as well. And the homies, the Hotbox homies. And I do too. And that's what this is all about, like a ripple effect and building and growing together and how we can build that community. So we want to be able to hear from all of you. If there is a topic that you want to tackle here on the Hotbox, let us know. And just like Symantha did, if you have something that resonates with you, let us know. We'd love to build on it and grow from it and grow together as Hotbox homies all together. That's what it's all about. Reach out to us on the strategichotbox.com or, of course, Facebook or Instagram or Twitter at Strategic Hotbox or at Brandi Love, BRANDILUV. Would love to hear from you. Until we see you again, get out there and kick some ass.